This is our final week in Wales for this trip. This is what idiots look like right here.
We did go all the way to the top.
Dwi wedi bod yn dysgu Cymraeg am tua 6 mis. Mewn gwirionedd, nes I ddechrau dysgu Cymraeg efo fy mab 8 wythnos yn ôl, 8 blwyddyn yn ôl. Ond oedd yn anodd, felly da ni'n stopio. Wnaethon ni stopio. Wedyn, mae fy mab, Penrhyn, oedd fy mab ddechrau dysgu Spanish. Nes I benderfynu drio eto. As you can see, I have been working on my Welsh a little bit, actually quite a lot. One of the things I wanted to talk about for this video was my attempts to learn Welsh and my attempts also to speak it on this trip. As I said in Welsh, sort of with some stops and stutters, is that I started learning Welsh about 8 years ago with my 2 sons, Gareth and Penrhyn, but we stopped after a while because it was hard. Last year, our son, who remains at home, Penrhyn, needed to learn a foreign language, and he started learning Spanish. And with that, I decided that I would try Welsh again. Even with all the times we visited Wales, I would still just feel like an abject beginner. I didn't feel like I was really getting anywhere. And then just 6 months ago, I decided that I would give it another go after 2 years of basically coming to the conclusion that Welsh was beyond me. And so I logged on to Say Something in Welsh, and it had this banner that said, "Learn Welsh in 6 minutes a day." And I was like, yes, I can do that. 6 minutes a day I can do. Well, I ended up working on it a lot more than 6 minutes a day, as my family would attest. And I found a couple of key things. Was one, because it is oral, I had to do something else while I was listening. And that allowed me to perhaps do 2 lessons a day for about an hour, so about an hour and a half. The second thing was they'd added a Zoom component, which allowed me to converse with an instructor and other learners once or twice a week in Welsh. Because of the Zoom lessons, I reached a point where I was comfortable talking in Welsh with other people. And then as this trip approached, I scheduled a couple of meetings with other Welsh learners so that I would have a definite opportunity to speak Welsh. So once we got here, I was determined to speak Welsh first, which ended up me walking into a pub or a shop and saying, "Dach chi'n siarad Cymraeg? Do you speak Welsh?" And the very first day I walked into the pub, I said, "Dach chi'n siarad Cymraeg?" She said, "Yndw," which means yes. I said something about having spent the last 6 months learning Welsh. Dwi wedi bod yn dysgu Cymraeg am tua 6 mis. She responded like, "Oh, that's nice." And then said something to me in Welsh, which I missed. And at that point, she switched to English and didn't want to work with me. But because I'd had experience talking on Zoom with other Welsh speakers or Welsh learners, I didn't give up at that point. For the most part, people have been very generous with their time in talking to me in Welsh. Just a couple of examples. We were in Penmaenmawr, which is where my book Chevalier is set, and we were looking at the field, the tournament field where Edward held his tournament, and a woman walked by and asked what we were doing. And we said we were looking at this field for Edward, and she expressed distaste for King Edward. And I said, "Dach chi'n siarad Cymraeg?" And she replied that she did, and we were able to have a little conversation in Welsh. And I talked about how I wrote novels, and she was kind of excited about that, and my mother-in-law gave her one of my cards. But that's just an example of the kind of response I get that's different, I think, because I am making the attempt to speak Welsh. We also had a meetup with approximately 20 people from Say Something in Welsh at the university here, Travelogue at Bangor, and it was a pretty amazing thing to sit and talk Welsh for 2.5 hours. In addition to Welsh learners, there was an instructor from Say Something in Welsh and for fluent college students. And they were willing, when I didn't have a word or my vocabulary wasn't enough to say what I wanted to say, generously pause, tell me what it is, I repeat it, and then we would go on in the conversation. I feel like in my attempting to speak Welsh that my ability to connect to individual Welsh speakers is improved. An example is we went into a bakery in Beaumaris and I ordered in English because they were busy. And at the end, I said, "Dach chi'n siarad Cymraeg?" And one of the women who worked there said yes. And we had a little conversation, and at the end she said, "Next time, start with the Welsh." And I was like, okay, I will be a little more courageous and do that. It's been amazing to speak Welsh on this trip, and I'm so excited about it. I'm dreaming in Welsh. I'm also excited to get home again and advance to the next level of Say Something in Welsh. Before we left, we made some videos that we are going to put up in the next couple of weeks because we knew we'd be exhausted when we got home, which we are. However, soon we're going to have new videos from the footage we shot on this trip. If there's something that you see in this travelogue that you'd like us to make a video about, let us know in the comments. In addition, if you'd like more videos involving the Welsh language, let us know about that too. Thanks for watching my video. You can click on the playlist or subscribe to my channel to see more. There'll be a new video next week. If you want to check out my books, click on the link to my webpage.